Hi, Elsa. How are you this morning?
I am fantastic.
Great.
Excited to be back with you again today.
Yeah. So we're continuing with our video series, uh, explaining positive intelligence and the different saboteurs that affect us, our little voices in our head that affect us from living life at our fullest. And so we feel this is really important over the holidays that everybody is able to quiet these voices and be present with family. So that's why we are sharing this as a gift over the holidays.
Absolutely. So, shall we get into it?
Yeah. So today we're going to talk about the stickler. The stickler is also known as the perfectionist. So the perfectionist in your family could be you, could be someone else. Let's start with the strengths. What makes a stickler so great? I'll let you
Oh,
start.
we all need a stickler in our family, right? We need the one that can keep order in the chaos, that knows when we're supposed to be where, when we're supposed to do what, and make sure that we actually have everything in place for when we are getting together with family and friends. And so we don't drop all the balls. It's the stickler has a lot of amazingly good qualities.
Absolutely. Self-disciplined, very orderly, high quality standards, really great qualities. And on the flip side, the sticklers are the ones. I have a friend that's a stickler, and she was upset if somebody was a minute late to a yoga class. Like, bringing that energy into a yoga class that, oh my gosh, you're late.
Yeah.
It's 1 minute. Stuff happens, traffic, or who knows what happened to that person before arriving. We got to ease up a little bit. That's not worth so much stress. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes late.
It's funny that you mentioned that. I grew up in a culture of sticklers in that sense. In Denmark, people are just very punctual, but it's
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily a stickler. It's just what the standards are set at. So we talked about what's the difference between a stickler and a standard, right? In Denmark, the
Okay.
standard is if you invited to dinner at 6:30, you better show up at 6:30 because otherwise your potatoes are going to be cold, right? And when I moved to the US, it was like, yeah, it says 6:30, maybe we'll show up at 7. And I felt so out of place. So I just want to give people a thought of sometimes it shows up as a stickler, and sometimes it is just what is normal to you, what you're used to, and it fits into your life and your expectancies.
Yes. And then I can tell about the other side of it, Colombia or Mexico and Latin cultures. 6:30, they're going to show up at 8 o'clock. You
Yes.
don't even leave your house until they say they're there. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So, but that
Um,
just proves that these are all good qualities. It is not like it's good or bad, but it's when it gets to that extreme that it interferes with your quality of life, the way that you feel joyful, the way that you manage your stress levels. That's why we're talking about this.
yes, absolutely. Okay, so I think we've given some examples on being in saboteur energy as a stickler when you're super uptight and it affects everybody else and yourself. I mean, it's a bodily reaction as far as the anxiety and the uptightness when the stickler is there. At least it is for me and when I'm around a stickler. Would you say the same for you?
Oh yeah. I have, like, we all have a lot of the different saboteurs, right? When I get in stickler, I can feel like I feel so rushed. It's like I gotta be there before. I gotta be there before. And I have had friends early on in my life. I remember an example with one of our friends. He is notoriously late, and I was driving them to the airport one time, and even his daughter said, "Dad, you better get ready because Elsa will be here when she says she's going to be here." Right? It was when I was still in the habit from Denmark of making sure I was there on time. But there's also other ways that we sort of experience it, right? Because we're talking about around the holidays. So what does it do when you get in stickler mode? Um, we talked about the loss of connection.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We talked about wanting everything to be perfect.
Yeah. So instead of like connecting with those that are in your house, your family and your friends, you're making sure that the napkins are folded correctly, that the glasses are sparkling clean. What are some other examples of the
Well,
sticklers?
like beautifully wrapped presents, right? They have to be just so. All your decorations, everything has to be perfect. And you and I were talking about an example of like taking it to the ultra extreme, right? Where I had a girlfriend who was visiting with me, and I live in Arizona, and you clean in the morning, and by noon there's dust everywhere, especially in the summer or in the fall or the spring where the air is really dry and we have a lot of winds, and I live right by a mountain. My house,
Gorgeous.
yeah, you come into my house, there's dust, even if
Yeah.
I cleaned it an hour ago. My
Yeah.
girlfriend, she's a little stickler when it comes to cleaning, right? And I found her in my bathroom with a toothbrush on my baseboard. And I was like, hey, dear, get out of here. Let's go have a cup of coffee. Yeah, and she has that very stickler rest of the, and it's also that very anxiety, like everything, oh, she's go,
Yeah,
go, go.
Stickler has a strong anxiety
Yeah.
piece to it.
And I was like, I don't care about this. I care about you here visiting with me. I know you want to try to help me because I'm busy,
If
but
I wanted my house clean, I would have cleaned
yeah. So, and I think we can all relate that to. I remember somebody said to me one time, because I was running around cleaning the house before I had company coming, and said, why don't you wait to clean till after people have left the mess? And I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, duh. I would have had more time to actually be excited about the party.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. Definitely. So that is how the stickler comes into play. And so what I'd like to share with everybody is a one thing to help with the stickler is to remember the 80/20.
Yes.
Would you like to explain it or would you like me to?
You explain it, and then I can share an example of how that looks in action. How does that sound?
Perfect. Okay, so the 80/20 is where you look at things and only 20% of things are actually of importance, such as family, relationships, friends. The cleaning, that falls into the 80%, not really important in the big scheme of life. So you put them in the two buckets, what's 20% important to you and 80% goes in the rest. And you focus your energy on the 20%. Do you have
Yeah,
anything you want to
absolutely.
add to that?
Yes. And it can, so that's on the personal level, right? So what does that look like in practice? Yes, if you want everything to be perfect at Christmas, just make sure that you generally, you got the right time and date on the invitation. That you maybe have picked the dress up a week early from the cleaner if there's something, so you don't have all those things. But in real life too, what does that look like? I personally use an example a lot with my clients, because I work, like both you and I work with business owners, right? I point at Steve Jobs.
Mm,
Everybody has this thought about Steve Jobs was like this perfectionist. He wanted, the Apple had to be just so, it had all these things. However, we all have this wonderful thing called an iPhone, right? Oh, here's my
yeah, I have
PQ.
an Android, but yeah, I get it.
Yeah, but either way, we all have a smart. Most of us have
Yeah,
a
yeah,
smartphone,
yeah.
right? But it wasn't a smartphone when it came out. It was iPhone 1. Mine is, I think it is 10, and there's up to 14 now, right? Not only is the hardware there, it's constantly being evolved, because he understood it's 80% okay. Let's throw it out and see how people who are going to use it are actually going to use it, so we can make updates they are appropriate for the people, right?
Mhm.
And on top of that, not only is it the hardware, but every 2 weeks I get update your software, update your
Yeah.
software. And so there is constant progress. So it's like you cannot say everything is perfect, because it's only perfect in a nanosecond.
Mhm.
When it's out
Yeah.
there, there's always a room for improvement, right?
Mhm.
So it's practice for permanently progress. That's how I
That's
always have
great.
heard it, right?
Yeah.
And so if you can leave your stickler to that 80-20 and saying, okay, it's 80% done. Let's put it out and then get feedback and see what happens.
Awesome. That's such a great example, and putting it into business terms. I love how a lot of Silicon Valley is like that. Just ship it and get it out.
Yes.
And pivot as you need to.
Yeah, because there will be a lot of haters, right? Oh, I wanted this. I wanted that. I wanted this. I wanted
Can't
that.
please everybody.
And that's the same, around Christmas. Well, Mom, why didn't you make those cookies this year? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Why didn't you, da 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 da?
Bring those cookies or confirm beforehand. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me a list of what's really important for you, and I will see if I can actually make it achieve. Or let's bake the cookies together and create the connection, right?
Yes. Great. Well, I love talking with you again today. It's so fun to be doing these.
Yeah, absolutely. So, any last thoughts that you want to tell people about the stickler?
No, I feel pretty content with the stickler. Do you have additional thoughts?
Should we give them just 1 or 2 ways to get out of it so we don't leave them hanging?
Okay, we could do that.
You did the 80-20, but what does that look like for you?
For me personally, it's all about relationships. Cleaning a house, doing laundry, all of that is unnecessary for me. Part of it's living overseas and having other people do it for me, that I'm not used to doing that. But I mean, relationships and connection with others is way more important than having this glass house perfection look going on.
Oh, I love that. So that what you're really telling me and what I'm hearing from you is saying, when you feel yourself all getting wound up, try to refocus and say, what is really important? What is the most important thing right now for me to accomplish? And make sure that that is your 20%, and then let everything else go. Is that how I'm supposed to interpret that?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your conversation today. This was awesome. And I look forward to getting together again and doing another one to help people around the holidays.
Great. Thank you, Elsa.
You're welcome. Talk to you soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye.